Hi all and welcome back to the channel. Now after the fun I had playing through House of Dead Overkill recently, I thought I'd dive back into rail shooters again. This time with Blue Estate. Blue Estate is a graphic novel inspired rail shooter that dropped way back in 2015 for the PS4, Xbox One and PC, both developed and published by Hiso Entertainment. Keeping with the style of the time with the game development, it incorporates plenty of move controls through Xbox's Kinect or the PlayStation Move controllers. The game serves as a prequel to the graphic novel, acting as a setup for the world of Blue Estate, introducing us to its crazy cast of characters and setting with a very stylized Los Angeles. The game draws a lot of influence from Time Crisis and other House of the Dead games, incorporating cover mechanics, gun reloading, and a combo system to get you aiming for that oh so high of scores. Now, as the game opens, we are treated to some comic panel style cutscenes. We are taken to the office of a local private detective on the smoky streets of LA. A mysterious dancer Cherry engages the private detective to help track down the infamous Tony. Tony Luciano, the least favorite son of the local mob boss, Don Luciano. The game's riding off the rip while not winning any awards is good for a chuckle, and similar to House of the Dead Overkill, Blue Estate's cast of characters are a real wide bunch. After that introductory cutscene, we step into the highly polished boots of Mr. Tony Luciano, as his favourite dancer Cherry has been taken to a rival's place of business, and he sets off to get it back. Now, the narrator of our fine journey through LA's deep and seedy underworld is none other than the private detective from earlier, giving a play-by-play of Tony's exploits. Now, the game's soundtrack is simply fantastic, with a good mix of combat tracks that fit thematically with your surroundings, but also quite a good few tension-building tracks for combat and other intense moments, with some guitars thrown in or electronic beats for the intense moments, or softer instruments for the downtime in between the Michael Bay-esque gunfights. The game's combat is classic rail shooter fare. Bunch of enemies run at you on the screen with rings to show you how far you are away from being hit. You have throw balls to contend with, also little mini games like Whack-A-Goon, where you shoot enemies carnival style, waiting for them to pop up, or in little order puzzles. And if you manage to shoot those goons in the correct order, you get yourself a massive score bonus. As Tony makes his way through more of the building, being greeted by a ton of enemy goons, we finally find the game's shotgun. Now, Blue Estate does shotguns right. It's loud, it's punchy, it turns a room full of bad guys into Swiss cheese. After a massive fight in the dining room of the restaurant, jumping from cover to cover, shooting guys as they pop up, our hero Tony takes care of a group of goons and saves a poor fish from drowning. We then head upstairs to find Tony's girl Cherry working for the owner. We liberate Cherry from the clutches of a mysterious captor and head downstairs, heading towards the service area of the restaurant, covering her from danger and racking up the points as we work through the mysterious guys upstairs henchmen. After the pair finally track down an elevator, Cherry runs ahead of Tony, so Tony desperately fights his way over to her. But Tony, unfortunately for him, is no Max Payne, so Cherry leaves the floor without him. Tony heads upwards through the gang's armory and finds the AK. Now, as good as an AK is for clearing out a bunch of baddies, I just could not say no to a golden deagle. Tony escapes the armory, fights, and links up with Cherry in the lobby of the restaurant, and just as they go to leave, they're stopped by the mysterious Kim Sick. We, ladies and gentlemen, have ourselves a boss fight. Now, Kim throws fireballs and Naruto runs around the arena. His men spawn in as well. He likes to rush you for a combo of karate attacks. Also keep an eye out for the slow-mo power-ups. And Lap is our favourite cop Max Payne, as we use the slow-mo to hit Kim in his weak spots. Now, this fight did take me off guard a little, and I did take a few deaths here, but after learning the timings of Kim, you just have to be quick and manage to keep Kim at bay. Watch out for his henchmen throwing grenades, and Kim will go down easy enough. With Kim laying defeated, both Tony and Cherry head for the exit. Now, Tony's father, the head of the infamous Luciano crime family, is understandably furious at his son for starting a war with the rival Sick gang. So Tony's father makes a deal with the Six to smooth everything over. The Six syndicate steal Don Luciano's favourite horse, Blue Estate, taking him hostage. So Tony goes to the meeting with $1 million of his father's cash in exchange for the horse. Unfortunately for our hero Tony, the drop was ever so bit of a setup. Both Six men and Luciano's men are now after poor Tony. The drop goes sideways and Tony loses both his father's favourite horse and his dad's cash. Tony sets off on a chaotic chase through the graveyard, coming up against, and not limited to, Swarms of 6 men and some of his father's machine gun carrying mercenaries, bringing a real Sam Fisher we have at home vibe. As we make our way through the graveyard, we cross through the pet cemetery as we make our way to the mausoleum. Now a cheeky point in the game's favour. As we finally come to the mausoleum, we get a small John Woo reference as we have a shootout amongst a flock of birds, pots breaking all around us. Pretty cool moment if I'm honest. Now just after all that excitement, it happens that Blue Estate, Tony's favourite horse, bursts through the mausoleum and back out again, looking like he's having the absolute time of his life, or he's scared shitless, I can't really tell. After Tony leaves the mausoleum, we catch up again with the Bagman near the tomb of the recently deceased Kim. Going to and from there, we have some great sequences that aren't yet fixed in place, traditional rail shooter style gameplay, but feel very fluid and on the move, giving off a fantastic running gunfight aesthetic. Now coupled with the great music, the chase scene is a really fun time. One massive gunfight later, and a victorious Luciano finally catches up to both the Bagman and his father's favourite horse. Now unfortunately for dear Tony, 2 Russian gangsters are waiting for him, give him the old 1-2, make off with the cash, and the horse. Really kind of ruining poor Tony's day. Now Tony, after the success of his last amazing venture, flees to Jamaica, and we meet Clarence, a quiet professional working for Don Luciano in an attempt to help him get back his favourite horse, Blue Estate, from the rival Russian gang. Clarence starts his adventure planning an assassination of the surviving sick brother, but his oh-so-less-than-savvy backup messed with explosives far too late, leaving Clarence to deal with the small army of the 6 troopers as he falls back through the sewers. Clarence feels a lot more secret agent and a lot less mobster, with Clarence's silenced pistol being a real change of pace to Tony's golden deagle. As Clarence pushes his way through the horde of 6 goons, we come to a classic Winchester lever action. A powerhouse one-shot kill beast of a weapon. A few more corners turn later and we come across the cult of Hua, a cult that worships a massive golden chihuahua. Now their chamber is a sewer hub that has been converted into a temple full of large golden statues and golden bones that are absolutely everywhere. After Clarence clears out some of the cult's temple and makes his way back to the surface, we get a pretty cool fight that sees Clarence climbing his way up the walkways of the surrounding sewers while shooting it out with the remaining gangsters. After making our way through that gunfight, we are treated to a nice little Michael Bay reference. As a cornered Clarence faces down the remaining sick brother pointing a rocket launcher at him, but he's saved in the nick of time by a friendly little chihuahua. Both Dog and Kim fall into the entrance of the sewer, but thankfully the dog escapes unharmed, and a thankful and relieved Clarence makes his way to the exit. Clarence's mafia buddies have found him a lead on the people who stole Blue Estate. The horse was last seen at a meat packing facility for the beloved Eastern European franchise OKFC, basically Balkan fried chicken. The packing plant, unfortunately for Clarence, is also hosting an off-the-books fight night, so the place is going to be packed. As Clarence's buddies lead him down every which way through the chicken farm, we stumble across the cages where they are kept. Clarence must now make his way through the maze of hens and rival mobsters, as we learn about the sleep cycle of chickens. As to mess with poor Clarence, the lights are turned on and off again, both waking and relaxing the birds. Clarence, using some science to his advantage, manages to find his way out of the maze and stumble into this weird chicken-turkey hybrid area. This new area also introduces enemies with armor, a mix of helmets making headshots harder, body shots slowing down your combos, and we thankfully find a Bison in the area, a brutal beast of a weapon with its deep magazine making it great for combos and never having to reload. As Clarence makes his way into cold storage, I noticed a cool little detail with the game. As you make your way through the room, you can see Clarence is breathing with the cold. Now dealing with the cold storage staff and making our way up and back out towards the loading dock, we have a boss fight against a massive Russian dude with a sore tummy, which you get the best of by avoiding his charge attacks and dropping creative overhead, passing chickens onto him, giving him an upset tummy again, making him vulnerable for attacks. Now after defeating the ever so large lad, Clarence escapes on a truck, making his way to a nearby golf course to finally track down that cheeky Russian mob boss. As we cut back to the private detective from earlier, as he chimes in from time to time with quotes, quips, and remarks on the progression of the story, so annoying that even the game manages to cut him off from time to time. Clarence finally lands on the golf course. We are treated to an absolute phenomenal weapon, Clarence's scar. As Clarence manages to sneak his way into the party, James Bond style, taking out guards as he goes, being as sneaky as he possibly can, and now he's looking for a cake that's been made specifically for the boss, and he hopes to bust out Frank Castle style and take care of things. Now, unfortunately, after that little surprise, the boss wasn't at this particular table, so Clarence works his way through more of the back tents, all while dodging grenades being thrown by Russians hitting them like golf balls. After all that fun, Clarence makes his way back to the facility where all the senior gangsters are, partying around a massive pool area. Clearing out the pool with some pretty fun shootouts filled with barrel rolls, dodging and diving through the air. Unfortunately though, no two pistols. Clarence finally manages to catch up with the boss, who unfortunately gets a drop on him, but Clarence is saved in the nick of time by a random golf ball. He gets up, walks off into the sunset with the cash and Blue Estate. After all that, we pick up with our old pal, Tony Luciano, has made it all the way to Jamaica. He makes a friend who puts him onto a new and crazy idea to steal a great new medical plant from the locals. Now, we later find out that that kind of plant is a relaxation kind of thing, and stealing it from the locals naturally really pisses them off. Tony's friend gives him his hand cannon, a 5-shot monster that is a 1-shot kill and feels a really good fit for Tony. As Tony and his friend fight their way through the village and the back streets and over buildings, feeling like complete badasses, they finally manage to escape the village, but Tony takes a little tumble down the side of a mountain. A fight down the side of that mountain as he rides the river downwards, dodging both branches, rocks, and all the other obstacles in our path to hopefully escape. Tony, landing back on solid ground again, makes his way forward. He comes across the farm from earlier with all the healing plants that he's after. But before he can take advantage of his new situation, he's unfortunately ambushed by a large group of the locals, and fortunately for him, takes yet another fall down the side of that same mountain again, landing at the bottom of the mountain, right next to the local warlord's township. But Tony, now down in the dumps, receives a call from his favourite girl Cherry to lift his spirits up and get him back in the fight, just in time, too, because Tony is immediately confronted by a bloodshot. He has a crossbow attack that's a real problem, likes to throw Molotovs at you. As Tony fights his way through the section of the town, and a small army of Bloodshot's goons, he manages to defeat Bloodshot, and both he and his buddy absolutely beeline it for their boat and head back to Los Angeles. Now, back in LA, after Tony's heroic escape, we manage to cut back to the detective from earlier, who we find out isn't actually a detective, but a kid with a massive crush on Cherry, after Cherry hangs up on him, and we cut to credits. Blue Estate is a fun little rail shooter, and I really enjoyed my time with it. Its level design, music, and gameplay had me enjoying myself up till the very end credits. Would I recommend it? If you like shooters and don't mind the writing, then yes, absolutely. It'll make for an interesting afternoon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.